Hello folks, it is time for some more 40k rantage, and this week I've taken the week off of work, so I am starting to get more chilled out. It is Monday when I record this, so I've just started, so recovery is beginning on my little episode last week when I was a bit ill, let's put it that way, a bit ill, but we're on the mend now. But no sooner have I been on the mend, slowly, I've still got that really, I don't know if, again, I've said it, anyone who's ever had this, that retching that you get when you dry heave and you're really hurting all the way down your chest, it's not nice. I can't really laugh right now, which sucks, because I like to laugh, I love laughing. But no sooner have I been on the mend that my missus has now been struck down with a plague of some sort. I don't know whether it's either the lurgy or whatever it is, but it's keeping her in bed, and normally that's a good thing, but not today. Anyway, today's video will be on Games Workshop, and actually, lads, and ladies, and people in between, are we a little bit too harsh on Games Workshop? I know it's a controversial thing to say, right? Games Workshop are seen as, well, the devil when it comes to wargames and selling wargames and models. The thing is, do they actually deserve their reputation? This isn't going to be a very long video, but during it, I will go into some pros and cons, reasons why we look at them this way, and if maybe we're justified in doing so, and maybe give them some mitigating circumstances on why maybe certain behaviours that they go through, Games Workshop, aren't actually as bad as people make out. First of all, I looked at this website the other week, when I looked at the lore and things, and basically just saying, look, you know, their focus isn't really on the lore, and I stand by that. You know, nothing's changed in the last couple of weeks. But I thought, you know, it'd be good to get these on here just to show you the price of certain range, the range at the moment. You know, £100 for a standard Astra Militarum force, you know, things like that. Again, this is Imperium stuff. It is being updated, which is very, very, very nice. And if you're an Imperial Guard player, I assume you are absolutely beside yourself with joy at the moment. And good luck to you, sir. You've been long starved of Newcadian shock troops and Gaunt's Ghosts, where they've been around for a while. Tempestus Scions, where they've been around for a while. Karsakin, look at that, dude. It's awesome, right? There are some really, really, really cool models on here. But there are a few reasons why people tend to say Games Workshop, in general, aren't great. And I've boiled it down to 5 points. Let's look at what they've done wrong over the years and why people tend to say, hey, this company sucks. Right? Number one, and this is in no order, by the way. Number one, and Games Workshop defenders, I will defend them at a certain point. So this isn't going to be a big takedown of Games Workshop. But number one, one of the reasons why Games Workshop are seen as being the devil in terms of wargaming. Gutting the online fan art and video scene through aggressive policies. They have not actually taken anyone to court over this, but their official stance means that anybody seeking to be the next Brother Alpha Boosa has to think twice. Their official stance is, don't use any of our trademarked things in your online work, even if you don't get paid for it, or we will sue you. That is their official line. This is a shame, as such videos like Astartes are essentially free advertisements for Games Workshop's products. Although they did give that guy a job, so grey areas as always, and this is what I mean, this is why I'm doing this video. There are grey areas here, you know? There are two sides to even that 1 point. Number one, yes, their stance is wholly aggressive and really in the face of the community. Don't have fun. Stop doing this, right? But on the flip side, they've not actually gone through litigation with anybody going after any of their products, you know what I mean? I mean, in terms of 3D printing, yeah, Eman-G, things like that, yeah, that's happened. But in terms of people like Brother Alpha Boosa, as far as I'm aware, nobody's been taken to court or even given a cease and desist at the moment. So things, if they haven't actually gone out of their way to enforce it, but their official stance is, don't do it. And on the further flip side, a lot of those guys who did do those cool pieces of work are then hired by Games Workshop to work in the studio. So if they keep doing that, that's a really smart thing to do, right? Go out there and make sure that you're hiring these people. So there are grey areas. There are two sides to every single point. But some of the points here don't have another side. And I'll get into those in a minute. Number 2. Frankly lazy release schedules. Games Workshop have the operating capacity and capital to update every single 40k factions models with each edition without breaking a real sweat. I mean that now, right? If they do 11th edition, and they said every single army in the range is getting 3 or 4 brand new units on release on the new edition, they could do that quite easily. Right? They don't. It's sheer laziness. They don't. Right? They don't because you keep pumping money into their coffers regardless of whether they do it or not. They'd rather not spend the money. They do not do this, as to do it would cost money, and without a guaranteed 3,000% or whatever it is markup profit, they don't seem to get off their backside to do things. As we can see here on the screen, we have been waiting for these models for upwards of 25 years. And finally, some of them are now here, and everyone is giving Games Workshop, great guns, but. Let me just say this. £28 used to get you a 10-man squad of Cadians. Now it gets you 5 Kriegers, or it gets you 5 Krieg Command Squad, or 5 Cadians, right? They've halved the number of models you get in these squads, and that's not good, right? Half the number of models. And are these really that more detailed than the old Krieg models? They're not really. They're better looking. They're better proportioned. I like them better. But they're not that better looking. They're not double the price. And that's essentially what they are. They're double the price now. This is very clever. To get the same squad, 10-man squad of Cadians, you would need to spend double the money. Right? Literally. Get yourself 2 there, right? Double the money. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'll get into more of that point in a minute. Anyway. Grey Knights and other factions like them are playing with almost 30-year-old sculpts at this point, and they are paying the same prices as those with brand new Primaris sculpts or their equivalent. Right, there are armies in the range that are still using ancient, outdated, bad-looking models compared to what's new. I shouldn't have to make my own Primaris Grey Knights. I should be able to just buy them from Games Workshop. But I've said this all along. I'm sort of dreading them doing that. I'm dreading Primaris Grey Knights because you know why? Right now, the Grey Knight, I've said this before, the Grey Knight Terminator Squad is the greatest box in the range for value. In terms of what you can do in the game. It's not value for money in terms of how much it costs, but for what you can get out of it, it is really, really good, right? You can make paladins from it, you can make champions from it, you can make librarians from it, you can make normal terminators from it. Brilliant stuff, right? And you can make 5 in a set. When the new paladins come out, there will be an absolute one box saying paladins, and it'll have 3 models in it. Maybe 2. It might only have 2. It'll be the same price, if not more. It'll be £40 for 3 models. Maybe 2. Yeah? That's where they're going. And they'll be monopos, they won't get as many options. And you can only make Grey Knight Paladins from the box. Grey Knight Terminator Squad will be a squad of 5, but it'll be nearly double the price, maybe. The price will go up on those. This is what I mean. This is what I mean. Like every single time they go back to a new territory in their range, they will, by and large, release new models, but then double the price. And that's if you get new models. That's if you get new models. Most of you won't go swivel. Quite simple, right? Most of you will not. And you can go get in the river, get in the sea, right? According to Games Workshop. Number 3. Ignoring any faction in the ongoing 40k scene that is not connected to the Imperium. If you are a Xenos faction, you had best hope that you get a one-off book like the Necrons did, or you are getting nothing for years. Hello, Eldar players, I see you there. Yes, Daddy North sees you, Eldar players, and I realise how frustrated you have been ever since Yvraine started flashing her feet about at Rabute Gilliman. But apart from that, you've had absolutely no lore for the past 8 to 10 years. And if you have, it's been scanned and it's been tepid with Space Marines and Death Watch and Artemis and all this other nonsense, right? They never seem to get anything on their own fighting another threat. It's always the Imperium, and the Imperium are always put over as the main good guys in these stories that the Xenos are in. That sucks, right? That absolutely sucks. Again, more variety, please. You're basically ignored if you're a Xenos player. It's at the point now where if you're into the narrative side of 40k, I really strongly advise you do not collect anything but Imperium, or you're never going to get an update to your beloved faction. You're never going to see them doing anything. I mean, I'll say that as a Grey Knight fan, I don't see my faction doing anything either. So it's not as if, But I will admit this: Grey Knights are not one of the big 5 or 6 factions. Okay, the big 5 factions in terms of umbrella term are Imperium, and we can break that down to Space Marines and Imperial Guard, right? Imperium, Chaos, on all the people therein. So Imperium, Chaos, Eldar, Orcs, and let's say the other big one would be probably Tyranids, because of how they're used, right? Because of how they're used. I'm not saying power in the game. I'm saying, how impactful they are and how much love they get in lore. I know the Tyranids always lose because they have to, because if they win, everyone dies, right? But they're still used. They're still around. They're still a big threat. And if you read the Devastation of Baal and as a Tyranid fan, you still got a lot of really cool stuff. You got a lot of wins in there, Of course, you lose in the end because you have to, or Baal goes, and we can't have that. That'd be ridiculous, right? Or exciting. It'd be cool if Baal was just devoured by the Tyranids. Anyway, what I'm saying is that I'm not one of the big factions, and I get that. Eldar are, though. They really are. You could make a case. Maybe the Tyranids aren't in that 5. You know what I mean? But the big 4. Let's call it the big 4. The big 4 literally are Imperium, Chaos, Eldar, and Orcs. Those are the big 4. The big 4, the original 4, like those are the 4 big ones who really started pushing the boat out for 40k, right? Again, other people were around. Tau, Tyranids, right? Tyranids, I would say, are borderline in there as well, right? But Tau, Tyranids, yeah. If your favourite army isn't in that 4 that I've just said, okay, fair enough. But I am right. Sorry, no, I just. Empirically right. Like I'm not gonna argue the toss on that one, right? My army isn't in there either, guys. So I'm not saying that it should be Custodes yet. Whatever, dude. You're a tiny faction. You are a tiny faction in terms of the lore. You're really cool, but do you affect the grand scheme of no, not really. Right? You're not really involved. Yeah. Space Marines are really involved. Imperium are really involved as a whole. Chaos are really involved. Eldar aren't, but they are one of the big factions. One of the biggest factions in the game. One of the most aesthetically, oh look, it's 40k factions. Yeah? You know what I mean when I say that. You can see the silhouette of an Eldar and go, oh yeah, 40k. Yeah? They're one of the big 4 and they get nothing in terms of lore. That's kind of diabolical. Not gonna lie. Number 4, speaking of prices, from our second point before, prices keep going up even though the profits for Games Workshop seem to be soaring year on year. This is a company that makes more money than God in terms of wargaming, and yet still raises its prices as apparently a 98% plus market share is just not enough for their poor little shareholders. This is a company that saw the hardships caused by the pandemic, saw their own soaring profits and thought, you know what, let's raise all our prices. That was their response to your hardship during the pandemic, to your wages going down and their profits going up. Their response, literally, was to up their prices so you have to pay more. Their prices have doubled since 2005 for most of their products. Have your wages doubled since 2005? Do you know anybody whose wages have doubled in that time? Didn't think so. Don't think I need to go into that one anymore. I don't think there is a mitigating factor there. But anyway, number 5, the final one, dumbing down in general of the lore and the setting and the hobby. They take away the edges of their own settings for the sake of the modern audience mob that has no real interest in Warhammer anyway. They placate to the mainstream when the mainstream hates their fucking guts. We love them. We keep giving Games Workshop money. We keep the lights on, but they don't want us, right? They literally don't want us. Don't want us around. Don't want us here anymore. They want the normies. That's what they want. They want the normie money. They want mummy and daddy to go in and, buy them some, I don't know, Imperial Fists. Go in and buy some Imperial Fists. Well, I say that. No, they're all Ultramarines on here, because of course they are. But, you know what I'm saying. You need to go in and buy some models. That's what you want for little Timmy, and get him into the hobby, and get your wallet out, right? Guys like us, no. Not wanted. Just not wanted. They want us online, not in stores. That's why they're getting rid of the stores, But anyway. So there's a lot wrong there, and I've done a lot of griping there. But let's look at the counter-arguments, shall we? Of, are we too harsh in Games Workshop? Let's say, yes, we are. Yeah, we are too harsh in Games Workshop. Why? Why? I've come up with 3 points. Well, maybe 4. 4 at a push, right? And we'll examine them and maybe dissect them in the comments. And I'll talk about them here, right? Let's look at the counter-argument. So, Games Workshop do a lot of things that are bad, but are there mitigating reasons and circumstances as to why that may be? Let's see. Mitigating factor number 1. Games Workshop are a company of mainly cool people. It is the few at the top and middle management who screw it up for everybody else. The shareholders and BlackRock and people like that utterly screw the prices in search of greed and try to push the company to DEI inclusivity madness and chasing off their long-paying customers whilst expecting record profits year on year. The vast majority of Games Workshop employees, though, are good people and just want to make cool things and sell them. I know that because I know quite a few of them, right? I'm honoured to count very many of them in my friend circles, right? People who work for Games Workshop. They're all really cool people, and they just want to make cool stuff. The guy in the studio doesn't get to decide how much a sculpt is charged for when it's made into a model. That's what I mean, right? Yeah, there are people doing bad jobs there. Hello, the writing department. But by and large, those people want to write cool stuff, and they want to make cool stuff. But again, I think we can throw out this mitigating factor. Now, please, guys, I know I'm in the WhatsApp group of traumatized former managers. Don't have a go at me when I say this, right? I completely agree and get that a lot of the people at Games Workshop are nice people. But I'm going to throw out this point. Right? This goes into Room 101. I'm not going to throw this out. Why? Because it's an argument based on feelings. Okay? The arguments beforehand, the 5 arguments against Games Workshop, were all made factually. They can be backed up by evidence. Like I showed some of it just going through the store, right? One Google search can back up everything that I said before. This, though, this is based on feelings. I know people at Games Workshop, quite a few of them, who are working either on the shop level or in the studio, right? I know they're decent people, but that's my life experience. I know that. Your average customer going in and paying £45 for what? For what? A tank? £28 for 5 models? They don't know you. They don't know you from Adam. So why does it matter to them? Which is why I'm throwing it out, right? It does count to me, personally. But to the general customer, not really. Okay? So number 2, let's move on. Games Workshop are well within their rights to try and make as much money as they can. If the market says there is a demand for their models, then they are expected to raise their prices rather than freeze or decrease them. That is simply how an open market works. Now, I've heard this argument used many, many, many times, and to a certain degree, I agree. To a certain degree, I agree. Absolutely. I do think that in the time between 2005 and now, Games Workshop's models should have gotten more expensive as the demand grew for them. Absolutely. No problem there at all. A 10%, 20% rise in prices would have been more than understandable. Absolutely. And maybe we tack on another 5% for it to... because of, manufacturing costs and electricity costs, energy costs. You know what? Make it an even round 30, right? if the 2005 prices went up 30% because demand for the models was higher and the process of making them and getting them to the shop floor was higher for them to make their money back, I wouldn't care. I'd be like, yeah, you know what, inflation, what are you going to do? Right? They've got to make their money. It's fine. 30%, no problem, right? But they've not, have they? They've more than doubled. I think this is an argument that you can make when we're in that 30 to 40% rise bracket, you know, of prices between 2005 and now. They've more than doubled in most cases. That's not... Do you know what I'm saying? Like, that is not... Let me just show you one of these box sets, right? Where was it before? I know we had one for the Space Marines, but it's not the Cadian Command Squad. Where is it? Let's get back to here, explore the range. There we go. So this box set here, right? Back in the day, 2005, this is 50 quid, maybe 45 quid. It's a small army in a box. This is you all remember these, right? It's about 45 quid a box, these were. Around about, give or take. This is what they were. 45 to 50 quid a box for your army in a box. And that was the same way for years. That was the way to get into your army in the hobby. You got your army up front, and if you got one of these for Christmas, that was your army in the box sorted, because you would play against your mates when you were younger with an army this size. You'd have loads of fun over an hour, maybe two, and you'd carry on and do something else. It was brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Now, it's 100 smackaroonies. Double, or even over double, what we used to pay for the same box set. And it is the same box set. It's a starter army in a box. That's what it is. Okay? It's start collecting. Remember the start collecting boxes? Yeah. Well, I'm talking about the boxes way before that. Even that. 2005, 2004. You'd walk into Games Workshop, say, I want to buy Imperial Guard. You would get pointed towards that £45 box set. And it had a similar amount of models in there. Maybe a tank as well. There you go. Start your army. 45 quid. Right? Back then, that was kind of expensive. But inflation hasn't gone up to where £45 back then equals £100 now. It just hasn't. And no economist can tell me it has. It hasn't. It literally hasn't. Okay? This is exactly what I mean when I say I'm going to throw out this point as well. You know, for me to call Games Workshop, right, for me to come to the conclusion that Games Workshop are harshly treated, at least 2 of these 4 points have to be sustained, right? I'm going to throw this one out as well. I really am, because, yes, you are within your rights to raise your prices, absolutely. I agree with that half of the statement. I really do. If your products are in demand and your costs of manufacture go up and your cost of bringing your product to market go up, absolutely, you can raise your prices. But I do not believe for 1 second that more than doubling your prices is what was needed to make sure you made a healthy profit on your models. To be greedy and to gouge your fan base and chase off a lot of your veteran players, yes, £100 price tag is more than reasonable to do that, but that's not what I want. So I'm throwing this point out. Simple as. Yet within reason, a price hike I understand. Maybe 25, 30% price hike, yeah, I get that. Absolutely. I get it. More than doubling? No. No, Games Workshop. No. Absolutely not. You're taking the piss, quite frankly. Alright, these next 2 have to be sustained, in my mind, for me to come to the conclusion that Games Workshop are indeed harshly treated. And I think I'm even being kind doing that, but let's see. Number 3. Whilst they have the sword of Damocles hanging over content creators, they very rarely make use of their legal muscle to take on such small fry. Not one NDA has been sent out to people making videos on YouTube as far as I know, but that still does not mean that the online scene is not gutted. Games Workshop made a threat and knew that would be enough. Yeah. So, Games Workshop basically released their official stance on fan projects on YouTube, and essentially their official stance is, don't do it, please. That's their official stance. Don't use any of our official names, models, artwork, music, whatever. Don't use anything of ours and anything of yours. Even if you don't charge money for it, even if it's for free, don't do it, or we will come after you. That was their official stance. Now, Just because they've not used that sword of Damocles, it doesn't mean they didn't put it there. Do you know what I'm saying? I've used well, I've heard this used as an excuse in the past. Well, they've not done it though, have they? Well, no, they haven't. But just because the sword of Damocles hasn't come down, it doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. They put it there, just in case they needed to use it. Okay? They've scared off. If you want to know whether I should give them a pass on this, look online right now. I saw one really cool one between a really cool video between Salamanders and Dark Eldar the other day. Not Salamanders, Raven Guard and Raptors and Dark Eldar. And it was really cool. That guy's going to last 5 minutes. Right? He will get a quiet word in the year, I'm telling you. Look at the scene of Warhammer content done by people, you know what I mean, for artistic purposes. People who aren't just playing the game, right? Because Games Workshop love that, because you're advertising the models. People who aren't just showing off the models. No. I'm talking people who do artwork, people who do animations, unofficial games, things like that, right? How many of those do you see on YouTube these days? That whole ecosystem was gutted and hasn't come back. So I'm going to sustain this one as well. This one, I'm going to throw it out. This excuse, I'm going to throw this one out as well. Because every single one of these excuses for Games Workshop falls on deaf ears because they either take it too far, way too far, or you can sort of, get around it and say, well, hang on, no, really, it's not like that, right? Let's move on to the fourth one. Now, this one may even redeem them completely. I may have to change my mind, but anyway. Number 4. Games Workshop makes the best models in the world. When you look at other people's models, they are charging similar prices, only slightly cheaper, for far inferior sculpts. Now, this is one that I really, really, really thought I might sustain. I might actually back them up on this one. Alright. Let's have a look at Warlord Games, shall we? Should be on here. Yeah, let's have a look at Warlord Games. We're in the UK. Right. Bolt Action, why not? No, Hail Caesar. I like Hail Caesar more than anything else. So, Romans and Hail Caesar. Right. I want an army in a box. A starter army in a box. £53. Alright, fine. £53. Let's look at the sculpt, shall we? Yeah. Right? Now, again. Guys, don't shoot the messenger. Please don't shoot the messenger, right? I really like Hail Caesar. I've been on record saying how much I love Hail Caesar as a thing, right? I really do. I think it's brilliant. But I want to compare and contrast. You know what I'm going to do here? I'm going to compare and contrast. Let's go with Cities of Sigmar, right? The most relatable average force that we have for Cities of Sigmar. Let's go up to, yeah, these dudes here. I don't know. Let's look at these. Right. Let's look at these models compared to these models. Again, this is an infantry unit, so not specifically fair, but I think you know what I'm saying, right? Look at these models. A normal cav unit, right? Yeah, I think you're getting the idea. I might sustain this because yeah, there you go, cavalry, officers, an officer on a thing there, right? Now these are a lot smaller models. Don't get me wrong, so it's a lot harder to get enough detail on there to make them really, really cool looking, but still, there is a world of difference. I'm sure you can see, right? Even if let's look at Games Workshop's range of Imperialis, if we can. Let me have a little look-see. There we go. Old World, Middle Earth, more. Build and Paint, no. Warhammer 40,000. I'm not seeing it. Kill Team, Necromunda. Ways to play. Is it Horus Heresy? It will be Horus Heresy. Yeah, needs an Imperialist. Right, here we go. So, similar units, let's say. Mechanicus, right, fine, Mechanicus. Let's have a look at Mechanicus. Right, okay. So, similar sized models here. Similar sized models. So we've taken the size thing out of it, right? Similar sized models. You know, I'm still saying Games Workshop's are better. I know we can't really zoom in on them that much on this thing here, but it's in the eye of the beholder, isn't it? But I would definitely say that these look better. And these aren't that much smaller, by the way. These are pretty much normal-sized units. Like, I've used them before. I've got my own Carthaginian army. I've used models like this before. Like, let's do Carthage, shall we? Any excuse to show Carthage. Where are we going with enemies of Rome? Blah blah. There we go. Enemies of Rome. Where are you, my beautiful Carthaginian? Summation Cataphracts. Gorgeous models. Gorgeous models. By the way, Hail Caesar. One of the best games in the world. I literally love it to pieces. Can't do any... I absolutely love it, man. Parthians. Very nice, Parthians. And extras down here. Okay. We've got Parthians, we've got Summatians. We've got some Cav there. Casualties. Now, these are cool, because these are here, these Celts. These are based on actual bronze statues that we have. Not bronze statues, marble statues of called the Wounded Gaul. There's one called the Wounded Gaul. And these are all literally modelled on that statue, which I think is really cool. It's a Roman statue showing the Wounded Gaul. Same hairstyle, same everything. Same, the guy in the middle there. Brilliant. Anyway, so as you can see, we have cavalry here, right? 28mm scale. So that's not small. 28mm scale is not that small, right? I think we can mainly put them on here as well. What do we have here? Age restriction warning. Of course, Games Workshop don't have any of that stuff because it's for normies. Surely they got no small parts warning. No. Okay. So again, these are slightly bigger. I think we can all say that. But I think we can both say, all of us can say, these models look better than these ones. I think we can just come out and say that, right? Similar sized models. Games Workshop sell the best models in the world, and how much are they selling them for? What? No. No way. That's got to be for the full set, right? That's not just for the cavalry. No way. Okay, cool. Woo, phew. Phew, I thought that was the full one then. No, it's 45 quid. 42.50. So, for another 15 quid, you get these instead of these, right? 5 in there, 6 in there. But I think you can say these look far better and are far more detailed than these ones, right? I think we can say, and they're a similar size. And so this one, I might have to sustain. I might have to say I back them up on this one. Now, I'm not having a go at Warlord games. I love Warlord games. I love every game they do. I really do. But I don't think I can sit here and say, hey, compared to the rest of the market, Games Workshop's models are overpriced, right? Now, how much the rest of the market takes their lead from Games Workshop is another matter. I'm fairly certain if you went to Warlord Games and said, why do you charge £30 for this cavalry unit here? When, you know, they will say, well, Games Workshop sold theirs for $42.50. So we do ours a bit cheaper. And they're quite within their rights to say that, right? I believe that's what they would say. I believe that they could sell these for a lot cheaper, and they would sell them a lot cheaper if the market leader led properly and didn't gouge its own customers. Because that lets everybody else get away with prices like this, which are really expensive for what you get. You get 6 average-looking cavalry models. Not that great, right? And again, I'm not casting shade on Warlord. I love them. I think every game they do is spectacular, and I love playing them, right? But, I think I've got to sustain Games Workshop's argument here and say, look, yeah, their models are really expensive, But the other people on the market who are selling quite, let's be honest, inferior models, and I think they would even back me up on that one, Warlord. They're selling inferior models. They're selling them for a similar price. It's £15 less, so it's not that similar. But you know what I mean, though. You know what I mean. If you're going to spend 30, you may as well spend 42.50 and get these for a similar game that you'll have more opponents for. You know. But how much of that is Games Workshop leading the market? Because as market leaders, this is what you do. You lead the market. You set the price. How much are these things worth? Games Workshop tell you how much they're worth. Right? And I firmly believe that if Warlord could sell these for 15 quid a box, they would. Yeah? I firmly believe that. But anyway, that's the only one I'm sustaining, though. Every single other argument that's made here, I'm gonna throw out. But I'm sustaining that last one. But I don't think, of those 4 mitigating circumstances, I threw out 3. So I still think we are very more than fair with Games Workshop. Are there mitigating factors in certain areas? Yes. Completely. There are mitigating factors in certain areas. Do Games Workshop have the utter right to charge whatever they want for their models? Yes. Should they be a profit-driven company? Yes. Obviously, yes. But do they go too far in all the things that they do in the pursuit of their goals? Yes, I also think that is right too. Right? I honestly do. You know, what do you guys think? Do you have any more mitigating circumstances? Rack them in the comment section down below. Do you have any more things that you think Games Workshop should be taken to task for? Do you think I've missed something out? Let me know in the comment section down below. I love you all a long time. I will speak to you tomorrow for some more hobby nightmares. Have a wonderful rest of your day, and I'll speak to you very, very, very soon. Have a good one. Bye now.